Your Excellency, what would you say has been your main achievements during your tenure at the African Union?
D'abord, merci beaucoup de m'accorder cette interview.
First of all, thank you very much for giving me this interview. So to the question you asked, I'm going to be very specific. There are a lot of challenges that I have faced, but the fact that we have succeeded in getting Africa into the G20, I think it's still a very important point. Now we're going to capitalize on it for the interior of Africa.
Mr. President, what is your view on the long-held AU objective of silencing the guns in the wake of increasing military coups and armed conflicts on the continent?
C'est quand même dommage, parce qu'effectivement l'adhésion.
It's still a shame because indeed Africa's membership in the G20 and our ambition also to join the United Nations Security Council and all the objectives that we have for Diary 2063 of Africa, that is to say having an autonomous Africa in matters of food, in matters of health, it is still a shame compared to the resurgence of these conflicts, because indeed it is a conflict. Unfortunately, not only will they stop, they will ruin these initiatives. They can stop them because indeed the socio-economic or climate ambitions that we have are throughout Africa. But if there are regions where insecurity and terrorism are indeed rife, it is indeed difficult to work to achieve these objectives, and especially in relation to what you say, the anti-council changes. It's true, insecurity, terrorism is very serious. But also, these changes are very serious because indeed unconstitutional changes make our partners hesitate to come and collaborate with us in a strategic way. Because every time there's an unconstitutional change, everything restarts. And the operators who are there, whether bilateral or multilateral, may ask questions. That whoever happens is what he's going to continue, he's going to start again. And that's why this institutional change is still very serious for the ambitions we have. Honestly, we have no choice. We must get down to it to try to end it and find solutions to this change that is taking place. That there is a transition, that we have arrived at elections, but prevent things like this from happening in Africa as well.
À ce que des choses comme ça n'arrivent pas en Afrique aussi.
Your Excellency, what would you say is the current state of relations between China and the African Union, and what role do you believe China can play in terms of peace and security on the continent?
Bon, par rapport à cette question, sans prétention aucune,
I think that if there are countries in Africa which have strong ties with China, Comoros is one of them. I think that bilateral cooperation between China and the Comoros will soon be 50 years old. We in fact cannot give lessons, but we can still give advice regarding what China can bring us. But there, China is not only in the Comoros, but we have seen that China is actually throughout Africa. It invests in Africa and in all African countries, whatever they are. China indeed is a politically communist country, but they collaborate with all countries. They have to this date not interfered in the internal affairs of the state, therefore they work in the economy and infrastructure in all countries. So on this side, indeed, China, which is a friendly country to Africa, moreover, we sometimes connect in Beijing or sometimes in an African country to see how China can support the African continent. Support the African continent first in relation to the African structure, but also in relation to the African countries of which China, in fact, is a partner. And as you say, China has a lot of potential. Indeed, they work in the economy, in the social sector, but also in security. It is indeed a country that we can benefit from. Its expertise, its experience in helping us fight against insecurity, and that is not excluded.
le continent africain